Hey y'all, happy full moon. Bad Girl Mystic here, and I'm going to talk to you about a little full moon adventure I'm going on. Um, so just kind of wanted to share with you guys what inspired me today for my full moon ritual and just this crazy experiment I'm going to try that I just want to invite anyone to come along with and try it with me and let me know if you're having as much fun with it as I am. So, anywho, here's my finished picture. Just FYI. I love the way the lilies and candles turned out. And so the full moon is a seed moon, and the moon is in Virgo, so the element of earth. And she has right here, I love her little notes and spell ideas for full moon. Setting intentions, visualizing the outcome, taking action, making change. So new moons, we think about, okay, what do we want to change? What do we want to do different? Full moon I see as like kind of the alchemy, right? Where we get to step in and play with the different knobs and decide, okay, what do I want to do? And one of the ways to get more clarity is to do a oracle reading or tarot reading, whatever floats your boat. So for me, I'm working with the Witch's Wisdom cards, and I got Chalice, Fulfillment. And I wanted to share with you. See, I'm getting stuff set up. They put these cool ass little like incantations, I'd say. I like to say them 3 times out loud, especially because I'm home alone a lot. So it's very important to, as a theater actor, vocal exercises, rehearsing and taking care of your vocal cords and vibrating sound against your vocal cords is very important for throat chakra health. But in the chalice, it talks about fulfillment. It's about like you seek it here, you seek it there, you've seeked everywhere, but look no further than inside. Magic is here to reside, and it's worked with harm to none. So mote it be, there it is done. That's just like a quick, easy like breakdown of it. But I definitely have had that seeking like vibe on like on just steroids, the whole spiritual warrior, sold my shit and went to India, like all kinds of like just once I realized I came out of therapy after trauma and realized like, okay, the trauma's still here, I know how to deal with it, but I wanted a deeper connection with myself, and so I went on my own spiritual quest. It was like in my mid-20s. The first spiritual book I ever read was The Tao of Pooh, which I highly recommend. It's wonderful. So anyway, fast forward up to now, as I dive into witchcraft, which is more about leaning within and trusting what I call the she magic. It's our creative intelligence and our heart power and our wild woman wisdom. And that for me is where I turn to. So what I loved about what they write here for Chalice is that, the quest is led to go through all these things to learn books and rituals and spells and herbs, and that for sure. And it talks about being initiated into groups and how it piques interest, and I've done that. But it says, my natural solitary side encourages me to step away from views of opinions of others and take my own path towards which I seek. I'm going through that right now. And it says, drink from the chalice that stands before you, for your search is almost over. Instead of seeking elsewhere, chalice shows you fulfillment, and seek what's always been inside you. You are one true vessel that is waiting to be filled. Now drink. And for some reason, like when I don't have it on this page, but I wrote my notes, and all I could think of was that drinking games from my bad girl days. Like one of my favorite drinking games is watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and every time his light goes red or every time you hear a certain word. So my chalice, as soon as I read that, this is my chalice. It's a brass cup from India. So even though I've talked about how I moved away a lot from my yoga practices, there's a lot associated with my journey in yoga that I love and I'm connected to, and I still use that to this day. And so you can see there's my oracle box. But I have like there's my little space. My little sacred space on the RV. So there's my altar, and there's a mixture of my goddess and witchcraft and crystals and yoga days, and my dog that has passed Jiva or leash, and feathers from where my husband works at Safari West. He gets me feathers. I have to show you guys one day. He got me this beautiful crane feather that's over the door for protection, and it's a crane that's only can be found from the Himalayas, so it's very important to me. And I also signed up for Amy's Coloring School of Witchcraft, and one of the things she talks about is creating that sacred space. So what does a drinking game have to do with a sacred space? Well, sometimes we can't always access our sacred space, especially when going through trauma and we get triggered. So the best way to deal with that is already have thought up, like, how are you going to deal with a trigger? So here's my power bag. There's my guardian dragonfly, and my and on full moons, I do intuitive pulls. So if I get I ended up getting 2 cards, but I usually go for 1. But if I get more than 1, I trust that. My full moons are always intuitive pulls. So here's my notes. I have here, and I've shared this in my stories. Alexis Raccoon, she's an artist. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but she has end of the month. Oh, I sprained my finger, so I have it taped so I don't use it. So I've been taking a break from coloring the past couple days. So she has these like 3 questions. What were you grateful for in the previous month? The wisdom you learned, and what are you gonna, what is your focus for this month, March? And so I would just FYI, those I've been incorporating those monthly. I like them. They're simple. It's direct. It's like a 3-card pull, past, present, and future. So back to the drinking game. So you see I have the pull I have, and then the note that popped in my mind, magic game. And I decided drinking game. So I decided, like Pee-wee's Playhouse, the word of the day. Like every time I hear the word magic, I'm going to visualize drinking from my inner chalice. Imagine like a straw going into all my energy centers and drinking up all that good she magic and tapping into the creative intelligence of she. So one of the things, like when she says, Amy says, before you sit down to color, create a circle, charge the space. Well, she also talks about that inner creative space. Like if you're not in your art studio at the moment, if you had a celestial art studio, if you had or another visualization I like, a witch's cottage, because like in the witch's cottage, it's not just my art that takes place, it's all alchemy that takes place. And she says, imagine having a celestial fire, and she talks about it in here. And so start daily visualizing going there and looking at the walls and seeing what the light is on and seeing what's in the shadows. Fun visualization, right? Doesn't have to take long. It's simple. So that's how I'm going to spend my full moon. I'm going to spend my full moon going to my celestial witch's cottage, visit that and see what's there, and hang out with some guardians. And then I'm also going to begin the new habit. So 30 days to create a habit, 90 days to create a mind and body memory. So this is how we repattern. We repattern with our imagination. We repattern with our focus. We repattern with a highest value. So every time I find myself wanting to seek outside of myself or doubt myself, I can always think of the drinking game. I like drinking game. In drinking game, the visualization levels it up because now I've engaged the higher emotions of laughter and happy memories, hanging out with my friends, and just the camaraderie and the fun we used to have in the wild shenanigans when I was doing drinking games. All right, so that's it. Happy full moon. DM me, let me know if you decide to join me in my new full moon adventure. Peace.